Welcome, everyone, to another session of Health and You. We are very happy that you are able to join us from wherever in the world you are. My name is Dr. Amit Abraham. I am the Assistant Director for the Institute for Population Health here at Weill Cornell Medicine in Qatar. So, the overall goal of the Health and Community Wellness series is to try and create awareness about health and disease in the community. And what we are trying to achieve here essentially is to enhance self-care, reduce suffering, improve the quality of life, and increase healthy longevity. A few housekeeping rules. So as per usual, your cameras and microphones are switched off. If you have any questions, you can use either the chat or the Q&A feature to enter those questions, and I will be moderating the session. So we will have questions and comments towards the end of the session with our speaker. And please note, this is not a CME CPD activity, so there will be no certificates of attendance issued for this particular activity. This is purely for the general audience. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce our wonderful speaker for today, Dr. Fatimah Isa. A brief word about her. Dr. Isa holds a PhD in organizational psychology, an MSc in health psychology, and she's currently pursuing an MA in clinical mental health counseling to expand her professional repertoire. In addition, as a certified professional coach, an experienced appreciative inquiry trainer, CBT group therapist, MBTI analyst, and behavioral interviewer, Dr. Isa has worked with people from different parts of the world. Dr. Isa herself has a unique multicultural background. Born and raised in Japan, she has completed her higher education in the US and has spent over a decade of her life here in Qatar, as well as in Indonesia. Dr. Isa joined Weill Cornell Medical College in Qatar in 2010, and currently she serves as the Director for Clinical and Faculty Affairs and an Assistant Professor of Psychology teaching in medicine. Dr. Isa, it is really a pleasure for us to have you here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abraham. Okay, so hello everyone. Self-care isn't selfish, and it is not for sure. So you deserve it. We're going to talk for the next 45 minutes about you, self-care. Ready to participate? Have your paper and pencil ready. You can take a note using your mobile. Anyway, let's have fun. So, how often do you experience positive emotions in your life? Positive emotion cannot be only happy feeling. It could be also feeling of calm, soothing, inspired, joy, grateful. Take a time to think about how often do you experience positive emotions in your life. Look at your wheel of life. How colorful is your life? You have so many different parts of your life. Your family life, your work life, personal relationship is part of your life, your health, personal growth, and other areas. And now let me ask you this question. Which part of your life requires more positive emotion? Can you put in the chat your answer? Which part of your life requires more positive feelings for you?
Yes, so we have a few answers coming into the chat. Some people are talking about work.
Mhm.
Some others are talking about family. We have someone mentioning personal growth as well. Um, someone has actually said all of the above, everything that's there on the screen. Uh, some people are saying work and personal growth, family love and emotion, health. So we seem to be getting a mix of all of the above, I'm thinking.
Excellent. Okay, so the good news is we do our emotions. So biological factors like our brain chemicals, or if you are taking medication, they also influence our emotion. But good news is that we also take part in producing our emotions. So this is how it works. We are surrounded by million or billion of information. And with that information, we human is always thinking. We are thinking creatures. So with that information, we play our story in our mind. And that story is becoming your reality, your world, which affect your emotion and vice versa. If you feel happy, if you feel sad, maybe because of the medication or hormonal imbalance or whatever the reason, it will also affect the story that you are playing here. And also, the state is affecting our physical state. If you have some pains, your lack of sleep, your emotion is affected, right? And of course, your emotion is also affecting your physical fitness. So, all this affecting your behavior and therefore your achievement of your important goals. So let's talk about how you can have enjoy more positive emotion in your life. Let's evaluate what needs to happen so that you experience positive feelings throughout your daily life. Do you have to wake up and wait until somebody greets you? Good morning. Or do you want to receive any exciting text message when you wake up? What rules make it easier for you so you can wake up every morning with happy mood, with a feeling of calm, with joy, feeling of gratefulness? So, for example, if in your area you can see the blue sky, if you can see the blue sky, maybe you can see the flower in your living room or a nice painting. What rules make it easier for you to feel the positive emotions? Think about it. Are you kind enough to yourself? Because if your reality and your expectation, there is a gap, it will affect your state. It will affect your mood. Larger the gap between your reality and expectations, you will get stress. And everyday stress will accumulate, becoming distress and burnout. So, what expectation that you have in your mind, it will determine the quality of your emotions. So, does it mean that you need to lower every expectation? No, not necessarily. You need to dream big. What's important to you to achieve in your life? Dream big, but it's important for you to make a chunk, milestone chunking down your goals. For example, what is your big goal for the first quarter in 2025? Try to chunk down into milestones. What is your milestone in January? What is your milestone in February? Then also you can think about what is your weekly milestone. So more you can feel you achieve the milestone, more you become motivated. Nothing is impossible. Dream big, but don't forget to chunk down into milestones. Now, this is another way to make sure that you will feel or you will experience more positive emotion. Evaluate your internal dialogue. You know, we are thinking creature, right? Sometimes the dialogue is not helping us. For example, when you're given an exciting project, challenging project, perhaps you're automatically saying to yourself, oh, I love to do that, but I don't have time. Or I don't know if I can do it. Sounds familiar? Oh, you didn't get a nice result of your project or your task or your grade. And perhaps you're going to automatically think, oh, I always mess things up. I always like this. I need to do it perfectly, no mistake. I need to achieve 100 score, not 95 or 98. And you can also, if you have a conflict with your friends or with your partner, perhaps you tend to think, oh, they made me feel like this. She made me angry. He made me disappointed. So you are giving control to other people over your feeling, over your life. So you can see how unconsciously, subconsciously, we are putting our fence. We are going into our cage, although we have the key to open it. So another question for you. What is your internal dialogue preventing you from moving forward? Please enter in the chat and share with us. What is your internal dialogue preventing you from moving forward?
Okay, we have some answers starting to trickle in. One person has said, I don't think I'll be able to do this. Someone else has said, I have no time. There's another comment saying, I don't think I can do it. It's too difficult. I have lost my passion. Fear of failing.
Okay, so it's time to pause and think, how true is that? Fear of fail, it's not happening yet, right? I don't have time. Did you try to make time? What if didn't work? It's not yet happening. And also to evaluate your actions. We talk about evaluating your thought. Now let's evaluate your action in the world. Sometimes it's important for us to step back. Otherwise, we kind of seeing from our eyes as if we are always at the center of the stage. And everybody on the stage think like that. We are the center. I am the center. When you step back, sitting in an audience seat with popcorn, Oh, pretend to be a movie director and you can see from the camera, you will see different view. What are you doing there? What other people are trying to do? Let's see it based on this triangle. It's a pyramid, Maslow's pyramid, human needs. Maybe many of you are familiar with this. So every human being, according to Maslow, have these different needs. Physiological needs, we need food, we need sleep, we need oxygen for sure. And safety needs is certainty. You have a home to go. You have work to pay you everything. And love and belongings is straightforward. You want to be liked. You want to belong to the group, to the family, to the society. And esteem, needing to be recognized, acknowledged. And finally, self-actualization is sense of achievement, feeling of contributing outside self. So these are the pyramids. So when you see you're playing on the stage and you are on the back seat eating popcorn and watching you, which needs are you trying to fulfill? Are you so much focused on to fulfilling your needs so that you ignore the feeling or the needs of others or the objective of what you are going to achieve as a group? So, this is a secret of a positive relationship. How about other people's needs? You are not alone. We need to stop burnout. Burnout not coming like overnight, but there is a process. So let's talk about how to prevent burnout. Anxiety is one of the common source leading to stress, distress, and burnout. And it is so scary that anxiety transmit very easily. We have a saying, projection processing. In a family, because family is a very close relationship. So from one member to another, they pass anxiety very quickly. So when you feel anxious, take it as a sign that we are not in this moment, here now. So when you are here now, you can think about what you can do. What's the options? What's the consequence? So that you are prepared for your future. Anxiety, for sure, is a worry about future that hasn't happened yet. So please remember this. You take care of your anxiety, you are taking care of your family or of your close circle. Talking about family, I also want to address this interesting concept. So, diet interaction is between two people. Dyadic interaction between two people. This dyadic interaction often become unstable. And when it becomes unstable, you include one more person, becoming triangle. So think about your life at work, family. Do you have any triangle? If so, you have one triangle, two triangles, or many triangles. I give you an example. Partners at home. husband and wife. When they are in a difficult situation, often a child comes forming triangle. So it will distract their attention, reducing the tension so that they move forward. Triangle is not always bad. Sometimes therapist, counselor, or mediator, if you are in a complex issues, they can help. They can offer you a new perspective. Having the third person to share the expertise, expert opinion, sometimes helpful. But don't involve the third person too long in this triangle relationship. For example, the kid. Because later on, the kid will develop false assumption as if he or she is responsible for the relationship between mom and dad. So triangle, you need to watch. So what to do the triangulation? These two people in the diet relationship, interaction, they need to talk. They need to talk. They need to face each other and resolve the issue. Okay? As I mentioned, involving the third party, sometimes it's okay, but two of you need to resolve the problem. And one important thing when it comes to kids, you need to teach differentiation. So in a family, okay, we are together, we love you, we love each other, but at the same time, you need to make them understand that, we love each other as a unit, as a family, but every family member is a different individual, different role. We have different mission and different goal. You are student, you are employee, you all have different mission. So it doesn't mean that, we are together, so we share all our responsibility. So it's very important to educate your children to balance between togetherness and separateness. And this applies to the workplace too. Because sometimes two colleagues arguing, conflicting, right? And then inviting the third person, okay, the third person perhaps get in with a heroic attitude at the beginning. But then most often, this person gets trapped. So remember this concept. If you see triangles in your life, de-triangulate by facing the issue. And remember this differentiation. Now, self-concept. This is also, I think, very important so that you can feel more positive emotion in your life. So throughout your experience, we tend to label ourselves. Of course, right? Life is not always up, sometimes down. And all this experience is a learning opportunity. But some people in your head will automatically label as, oh, I am bad, I am incapable, I am helpless, I am so on. So you have to avoid labeling yourself. Self-concept is very dangerous. You need to think about yourself as a context. Self as context. You are the sky. Sometimes you have rain, sometimes snow, sometimes windy, and sometimes even you have storm. But the sky is not disappearing. So you are the sky holding different emotions, sometimes good, sometimes not good, but you are there. You are bigger, much, much bigger than your emotion. So 2025, how colorful your life would be. It's normal to have many colors, but you can navigate because you know how to. I like this metaphor. So imagine you are a pilot flying a plane, and the passengers, they can be an angry man or happy mother or anxious children, but you don't change your direction, right? You don't even stop. You just move on, whoever the passengers, toward your destination. So this is you. You have a control over your plane. So even you're feeling something not really good, tomorrow is maybe better. Don't put too much attention to that emotion that you don't want. You acknowledge, today is not so good, but tomorrow would be different. And you don't change every time you experience negative emotion and, you change direction to somewhere else. Keep on going towards the direction of your goals that is most important to you. So that's my sharing today.
Thank you, Dr. Isa, for those very interesting tips on recognizing the importance of paying attention to our own, um, basically our own mental health, our well-being. That was a very interesting introduction. So if anybody has any questions or comments, please put those in the chat or the Q&A feature. And I will read that out so that Dr. Isa can respond to those. But in the meantime, I did have a question, so I can start off. So you talked a little bit about burnout, right? So how do I recognize when I'm approaching my limit, when I need help? Is there any kind of warning sign to look out for? How do I recognize, the limits of my own ability to help myself and I need to seek help from somebody else?
Mm-hmm. So if you don't treat your stress, prolonged stress can lead eventually to burnout. So the time you need to seek for professionals' help when this emotion is overwhelming you. So I guess my simple answer, we all have ups and downs, negative emotions, not so good emotion is part of our lives. And we need to navigate our life, right? But if the emotion is really troubling you, you feel overwhelmed that you cannot function effectively in your daily life, that's the time. I hope I answer your question.
Yes, thank you for that. Yeah, because it's really important to be able to recognize, when to seek for further help. While at that point, do you have any suggestions in terms of if somebody has reached their limits, who do they reach out to, and what kinds of resources do you think would be available for?
Uh, First, in our college, I think nowadays it's very common for institution to have EAP. I don't know the name of each organization, but it's like uh, employee assistance program. The phone number, the hotline that you can call, and you can talk about any issues. So you can start from there. And I'm sure that the EAP people are very, very well trained. So they will refer you based on the conversation. If they think that you need to go to a psychologist or therapist or psychiatrist, they can refer.
Okay. We have a question in the chat. Someone is asking, how do I get rid of the fear of what will happen after death?
Wow, that's an interesting question. All right. Mm, I think that there is a birth and there will be a death, right? So I think everybody at one point will go there. And it's kind of, I shouldn't be saying wasting our time, but while we are here in this world, I think we should spend more time what's important to us, what's important to our family, what's important to our society, and take action. Do, unleash your potential, do whatever you can do to make your life meaningful. I hope that will shift your attention towards this fear of dying to now.
Excellent. So basically focusing on things that are essentially within our control, focusing on things that we can actually do. Yes. Okay. There's also another excellent comment, a question in the chat saying, and I'll read this verbatim for you. So, given that both positive and negative emotions play a role in shaping our mental health, how can we strike a balance between embracing the lessons from negative emotions while also leveraging positive emotions to build resilience and prevent burnout?
So, positive emotion, I think it's out of question. It will motivate us. And of course, we cannot depend on only on emotion, right? We need to have our mission. We need to have our clear goals where we are, where we want to grow. So positive emotion, I think we just need to feel more throughout our daily lives. But negative emotion now, I think negative emotion is indicating to us, like I mentioned, mostly when our expectation is not met. So your expectation and the reality, when there is a gap, this is one of the places that you start to feel negative emotion. And I think life is about learning. Listen to your emotion, even negative emotion. It's useful for us if you can find the meaning from this emotion.
Okay. Another question that we have in the chat is, how can I set boundaries to prevent myself from being influenced from the way that other people are feeling, specifically if their feelings are negative?
So this is again, I'm referring to my presentation, differentiation, togetherness, and separateness. So we are also social creatures. We cannot live in isolation, be it in your family or at work or whatever the group where you belong. I think everybody has different type of emotion, but when you remember that, we love them, we care about them, and we are group in this context, but everybody is, individual, different individual, you know. So if you have this kind of sense of individuality, it will help you become more rational in facing whatever the situation. So it's not really affected totally. Maybe you will feel at the moment, oh, feel sorry, oh, I'm feeling bad. But yeah, I think you will bounce back more quickly when you realize that everybody is a different individual.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Another question we have is, how can I manage my anxiety or fear about some events that might come to pass in the future?
Okay, so anxiety is about something that haven't happened. You can anticipate. So, anxiety, sometimes it is useful. So we can prepare ourselves. We can think about what's the option that we can do or we can have and take action according to the best course of action that you choose. Am I answering that question?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. There is a comment in the chat, and I'll read this verbatim for you. So, thank you very much, Dr. Fatimah, for your topic. I agree with you. Having control and managing our emotions according to the situation and our reality is a core factor in living a psychologically and physically healthy life. So, the importance basically of paying attention to how we feel, what kinds of emotions we are currently in. There is another question that I saw over here, which was basically about motivation. Let me see if I can find it. Yes. So how do we keep ourselves motivated to overcome fear of not being able to achieve a task or a goal?
Okay, so I hope I am understanding the question right, but motivation in our term, in my field, we can call it toward motivation, away motivation. So somebody, for example, during the COVID, you don't want to get infected. That's away motivation. So you will wear your mask, you will wash your hands frequently. That's away motivation. Toward motivation is really, clearly what you want. That, it can be a big goal, it can be a small goal, but that motivation will sustain rather than away motivation. But if you want to act quickly, if you want a strong push, use the away motivation and then at one point switch to toward motivation. In essence, I think you really need to know what is your goal. So in this context, it's not only avoiding COVID, but my goal is to live healthy life.
Excellent. Thank you for that response about the different kinds of motivation. It's clearly important to consider external versus internal drivers of our own motivation. There is another question that I have here. Basically, what role, if any, does gratitude have to play in terms of managing our emotions, having a more positive outlook? And do you encourage practicing gratitude at all?
Yes. Um, I think gratitude is very powerful. I think it distracts people from becoming judgmental. If you approach in any happenings with gratitude, I think it will bring people to find a meaning behind. Even it's unexpected or hardship, approaching to that event with a feeling of gratitude. Okay, feeling of I am, I am appreciative of this happening because there should be something that I can learn from.
Okay.
So yes, gratitude is very nice.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. Someone else in the chat is asking about tips for being more emotionally intelligent. Do you have any suggestions in terms of what it is that we can do to be more emotionally intelligent?
Emotional intelligence. I think I gave you the tips to step off from the stage and watching the play from the audience seat. I think it's a powerful way to understand not only the action that other people are doing and yourself is doing, but you can also see the feeling happening between these people in interacting each other. So that's one way to improve your emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence not really only about knowing other people's feelings, but we often forget about becoming aware of our own feelings. So I think it's very important. I always encourage people to help children from the younger age to recognize different emotions. It's not only happy and sad, but there are so many different emotions. So when they grow up, they kind of knowing, okay, now I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. Acknowledging emotion, but it's a journey. You cannot overnight, oh, I am aware of all my feelings. So it's a process. And lastly, I wanted to mention about this because I did my research about emotional intelligence in a workplace. There are so many types of leadership, right? Transactional leadership. Okay, I give you money, you do this. That's transactional leadership. Transformational leadership is a charismatic leadership style. People look at the leaders as a role model, and the leaders also care about developing the followers. So this transformational leadership, according to the study I did, there are some components of emotional intelligence, understanding other people, understanding, our feelings. But the meaningful connection between transformation leadership and the component of emotional intelligence was about how leader can use their emotion to move forward. So in essence, it's not only about understanding other people's emotion and our emotion, but learn how to use that emotion to achieve, the goal, the outcome that you want to achieve. It's a long answer.
No, but it is a very complex topic. So, and as you said, it's more of a journey. It's not about the destination, really. So, you take baby steps and you make a little bit of progress and you step back and evaluate what went well, what didn't go well, and then you move forward again. So, yes, thank you for that. Someone in the chat is asking, Do you feel that basically talking to someone like a close friend or family member, venting to them, is that a practice that can be helpful? Or do you recommend trying other routes in terms of trying to express your feelings?
I'm not saying that venting is totally wrong because, in a daily life, there are so many things happening. You talk it out, many times it will help kind of calming you down. But I think you also need to make sure that you think about the option to resolve it. Because venting is one thing, but you cannot expect other people to resolve it, right? This is kind of the concept that I was talking about, the diet interaction. If these two people are not facing each other and resolve, the third person is only kind of a quick fix, but it will not really fixing the core issue.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I did have another question. So, today we see there are a lot of apps available that claim that they can be beneficial for one's mental health, can improve self-care, etc., etc. Do you think there really is way to this? Can these apps be helpful for us?
Interesting question. I think it is helpful. It will be helpful, but whether it will resolve the whole issue, I don't know. Basically, human is very complex, and yeah. I can share this interesting story. When I went to this psychotherapist big conference, there was a very famous gentleman. I think I forgot his name. He was the hero of mindfulness. But anyway, he said, some researchers in China or wherever, they try to make this application so that the leaders in the field, even they pass away, we still can use their thinking in the application. So in short, we are still talking to the person who is already not here, who passed away. I don't know how it is possible, but it's interesting, right? Because they are decoding whatever the books or the message or theory they make, and they made it as an app.
Yeah, so basically, I'm thinking what you're saying, I'm trying to summarize what you're saying. I'm thinking is that they might have a role to play, they might have some kind of contribution, but nothing can replace the human connection. Yeah. Okay, I think that is all the questions we have for now. So I want to take this opportunity once again, Dr. Fatimah, to thank you for joining us and giving us today's session. It was very interesting and really emphasized the importance of taking a minute to just think about how you are feeling in the current moment. So thank you very much, and thank you so much to all our attendees for joining us as well. And we hope to see you in the next session.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.